Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Heir of Higara here, and welcome back to Homeworld 3. Hope you've been enjoying the campaign gameplay that I've been posting so far. Yes, this video is going to include a skirmish battle so that we can get a look at all the ships available and see what battle looks like on a larger scale. Now, if that's what you came here to see and that's all you want to see, take the slider, drag it forward a few minutes, because I'm going to just give a quick discussion about what I'm thinking of the game so far and some of my what I'd say like good and bad in the game so far. Not a final review on my part because I haven't played enough to do it, but again, go ahead and skip forward if you just want to see the battle. It'll be ahead. All right, so I want to talk about the good and the bad in this game so far. For me, from my perspective, I was curious. Now, personally, I never really look at game reviews until I get a chance to play the game myself. And part of the reason I do that is because I don't like having my thoughts skewed by other people who may or may not either, one, think the same as me or be looking for the same things as me. I do like that Steam has reviews and that it's something out there that you can gauge, but I don't put all my eggs in that basket. Like, so if I see a game that has negative reviews, I want to know why, and I want to know for myself, and I want to see the gameplay for myself. So that's what I've been doing. Now, a lot of the people who have negative reviews, I looked at it. It's kind of spanning a lot of reasons, but we're not here to talk about that right now. What do I think is the good and the bad, and possibly any ugly that's in the game? Good. Let's start there. The graphics are beautiful in this game. It's well done. A lot like Deserts of Karak, has a very nice look to it. It runs pretty smooth, except for when you get into huge fights. It does tank on your CPU pretty hard, but they have DLSS, they have FSR. When you drop a lot of the settings, it doesn't seem to impact graphical quality very much, but you do get a pretty nice increase in frame rates. I've heard of people running this on relatively low hardware. I run it on relatively high hardware. It's a good looking game. It seems to scale well, and I appreciate that. So that's one of the things that is good. The other thing I would say that is good is, to me, at its core, this game very much feels like Homeworld. The art style, the ship designs, the story, the characters in the story all draw heavily from past Homeworld games as far as the names, the Sajets, the Sobans, the fleet commands, the mothership designs, Higara being there, even the Angel Moon, I think is what it called. Yeah, from like Homeworld 2's up there in the district, you can see it. There's all kinds of fun little call outs. And there's a lot of stuff here if you're a previous Homeworld fan. So I think that is a good thing about this game. In my opinion, I feel like Blackbird has stayed pretty close to the way that the games were. Now, let's talk about the bad. So there's a couple of good things, a couple bad things. The pathfinding is not real good in the game right now. Sometimes it's okay, but most of the time, anytime you get around structure, the pathfinding's not great. Your ships might turn around funny or try and take Stain's path. It needs to be improved, and it is unfortunate that it was that way in release, because I think that it kind of turned some people off, and it was part of the reason for some of the bad reviews. And along with the pathfinding, I'll make another point here. The way that ships engage each other is a little bit off right now. I think that maybe when I say that, you might be wondering what? Well, the behavior of the ships when they're attacking is rather strange. I found that in certain formations, the ships don't attack well. So you might see me, for instance, using the sphere formation a whole lot. And it's because I found that they do attack pretty aggressively out of the sphere formation, whereas in some of the other formations, like a claw, sometimes my guys don't do a whole bunch of attack. So you kind of have to tinker with those. In my opinion, I think that needs a re-review by the team over at Blackbird, and to make sure those are all functioning, because I do feel like the way that ships engage each other and fly, again, it kind of ties in with pathfinding, needs to be improved. Now, let's move on to another thing here. Let's talk about the campaign. And I'm not placing this in good or bad or ugly at the moment. I'm just going to talk about it real quick. I haven't finished the campaign. I'm playing through it and letting you all see it as I go. I'm playing it with no commentary, so you can see it how it is. I figured it would be a fun way. Plus, it has a nice like narrative feel to it. So I'm going to say a few things. The story in the campaign is much more reminiscent of like what we got in Homeworld 2 than it is in Homeworld 1. Is that a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Some would say bad, some would say good. In my opinion, I'm glad it's modeled after Homeworld 2. I liked Homeworld 2. I also liked Homeworld 1. It's just more like Homeworld 2 in terms of the story. So that's something to be aware of. As far as like, I saw a lot of reviews where people were just like enraged that they didn't do like the painting style art cutscenes and that there was actual 3D animation. I mean, I guess I can get that. That's something that Homeworld was kind of famous for. They even did a little bit of it in Deserts of Karak. It was kind of a mixture of like painting style and 3D animation. They decided to just do the 3D animation here. I don't see how that ruins a game. I just don't. Like, to me, that's not a big deal. The 3D animation looks good. The engine in the game and the graphics look good. I like the characters. I would say, with the exception of the Incarnate Queen, she's just not very menacing, but it's not something that's ruined the story for me or anything like that. A lot of people, though, are just flogging the campaign in reviews because it's not exactly like Homeworld 1. And that's going to be a personal thing. Personally, I think the story is good. I'm enjoying it so far. It's very narrative. There's a lot of cutscenes. In fact, some people railed on the game for having too many cutscenes. It's a campaign. It's supposed to be narrative. They made a bunch of cutscenes and it plays into the story. So again, I don't get that. I don't downrate it for that. But if your idea of a campaign is shut up and just let me play a really simplistic mission, then you may not like this one. This one has a lot of cutscenes. Now, those are my thoughts overall. And obviously there's a lot of things that I think are good about this. Like I said, it's following a Homeworld-esque type story. The characters are Homeworld-esque. The art style looks good. And the story's been fun so far for me. Okay. And now the bad side of campaign, and I'll put this in there because I like to try and balance this. The missions come at you fast and don't give you a whole lot of time in between. So as you move in, like, the combat starts quickly. When it ends, the mission's just over. That is quite different to past Homeworld experience, where when a mission was over, you could kind of hang around, finish collecting resources, organize and heal your fleet, build some things, and get ready for the next mission. And then usually when you warped into a mission, as long as you didn't hit like a certain trigger point, you had a little bit of time to organize, maybe start resourcing, do a little bit of research, stuff like that. I do think that they should probably bring some of that back in. If they don't, it's not the end of the world, but I would say that that's one of the big downsides I've seen of the campaign compared to the old games so far. Anyway, there's a few of my thoughts on the game. I've talked enough. Hopefully you skipped this if you didn't want to see it. And I will go load up our replay, and I'm going to show you what a skirmish battle is like in Homeworld 3. All right, so this is kind of neat in the replay, I have to add. Like, you can leave it on player 1's camera so you can see what the player was doing, or you can go to free camera, which is pretty cool too. I'm going to go ahead and go to free camera and roll through the replay. So that's kind of neat that you can watch what the player was up to. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the builds. Actually, I don't think we can see the build screen. That's unfortunate if we can't. Yeah, it doesn't look like we can. So we're going to let it go. It's unfortunate you can't see the build screen because it's going to show the build order and everything. Yeah, darn. Well, anyway, let's start talking through the skirmish phase. So skirmish is where you can take on the AI, or you can get into multiplayer. You can have more than one team. You can have like more than 2 players. But this particular map is Trinity Gate. It's 1v1. You can see that there's kind of like a cluster of resources towards the beginning. One player starts up here on the top, one starts on the bottom, and then there is some terrain with openings and other stuff that you can kind of explore in and use for cover as you go around. Terrain is supposed to be one of the big adds that they've done to this game. Now, when I've been playing in these, what do you call them, the skirmish battles so far, I've noticed something that was kind of true for older Homeworld games, which is that the AI is going to hit you pretty aggressively early, but then once the fight begins, they kind of just start piecemealing all their troops in. So if you can survive that initial skirmish, you'll probably do okay. But what you're going to want to do immediately is just start building resource collectors, which is these ships here. I'll show you those up close. You can have up to 8 of them. Just build all of them immediately, right when you launch into the battle. And then as soon as they come out of the mothership, hit H on them, send them out to resource. And then start researching interceptors. And as soon as interceptors are available, start cranking out as many interceptors as you can. I usually stack up about 20 or 25 of them in the build queue. And then immediately from there, I'm going to research the railgun corvette. And I'm going to start opening up railgun corvettes so that I can hurry into frigates. And then, of course, usually the assault frigate or a support frigate might be a first good go-to. Maybe a suppression. I think you have to go assault frigate first. I don't remember. I'll hop in and show you all that at some point. If we go to player 1's camera, man, I really wish we could pull up the build menu over here so you can see what was being built. That's something they might want to. That's something they might want to change. I'm gonna go back to free camera and I'm gonna turn the UI off and let you all see some of this fighting. Yeah, okay, there it goes. So the UI goes off. You gotta protect your resources. Like I said, the AI usually comes in. These are their dominance fighters, so these are strike craft, just like mine. And part of the reason I moved the mothership forward is so that it could act as kind of a mobile base here for my collectors. And you can see that the enemy has not done that, so they are farther from their supply lines and they're having to send in reinforcements more piecemeal, whereas I am close to my supply lines. My ships are quickly reinforcing me, and the mothership can provide covering fire, which is going to put me in a pretty good situation early. Now, I do have all of my resources. I believe they're all out. I'm just getting the last couple to start collecting resources. You can see this one just came out, and we're going to get it in there as well. The AI is already throwing corvettes at me here. They've got assault corvettes. So it's a little bit dangerous for me because I'm a little behind right now. I don't have any corvettes out yet, and the fighting's already begun. So the AI is a little bit ahead of me in terms of its tech. And you can see here that they've got all their resourcers out too, doing a lot of work here, picking up resources. However, it looks like they're a little bit crammed onto just a couple of resource points. Mine are a little more spread out, I believe. Yeah, see, I've got them spread. You can see this little kind of diamond-shaped marker on my resource collectors, and then those new ones that came out, I'm getting them collecting as well here too. So I'm nearly at full resource capacity. You can see my first railgun corvettes coming out. I'm gonna let you all see it up close. It has this turret railgun. They're a sniper unit, really, and against larger targets, they're good from a distance. You just don't want to get them up close to an enemy strike craft. So see, like right here, this assault corvette and the others are kind of hammering away at me pretty effectively, but if you keep the railgun corvettes back at a distance, they are very deadly. Good against corvettes, good against frigates. Honestly, in big numbers, they're even good against big capital ships like carriers and destroyers and cruisers. And by the way, we'll roll through that real quick too. So when it comes to frigates, the Higarans have several varieties. Assault frigates, which are going to be kind of an all-rounder, and you have ion frigates, which are a dedicated anti-capital ship, so anti-frigate, anti-destroyer, motherships, that type of stuff. You're going to have torpedo frigates, which are long-range snipers, and you're going to have suppression frigates, which are anti-strike craft. And then you have the specialist support frigates, which are for healing. So you have quite a few frigate options as the Higarans. Quite a lot of fun there. You'll notice that this is a new ship coming up here too. This is a disruption corvette. I don't know exactly what it does, but I'm assuming that it has kind of like a suppressing, or look at it, it's using some kind of crazy beam there. It might have some kind of damping field. I'm gonna have to look into that one, but they use these against me pretty heavily. But see now how I have my railguns kind of sitting in the back. I'm letting my interceptors be the aggressors, and my railguns are sitting back in a guard position, picking off, see how they're picking off these corvettes from a distance? And although I've taken a fair number of losses here early, my resources are starting to accumulate faster than my opponents, and we are starting to gain the advantage here. And now you can see that they're actually moving their resource collectors further forward because they're desperate for resources. I don't know that they had a ton of options back here behind them. Let's turn on the UI and see. They do, and they're resourcing one back here, and they're heading over here. So they didn't send everything forward, but this is another reason why I moved my mothership forward quickly. And you'll see there that I used a volley fire on my railgun corvettes and destroyed one of the resource collectors early. Now this is gonna start to put the AI at a major disadvantage, and because they're piecemealing units up here, they're in big trouble. However, you might say, well, they're dumb. They shouldn't piecemeal units up there. That's true, they shouldn't. But if they hang back, they have limited resources. So really moving the mothership up and contesting this concentrated area of resources here is really going to give one of the players a major advantage. And the player that doesn't take advantage of it, in this case, the AI, they're going to be badly punished for not possessing the more lucrative resourcing area like I have. So the AI is having a hard time getting behind me at the moment to get to my other resourcing operations. And then look, I've got all these resources still sitting behind me that are relatively safe. So there was one up here that the AI could have gone for. More back here that they could have cleaned up. They are doing some work on those. These were available. So this one's a safe bet, and they are getting those. So the AI made a mistake by coming forward, and they took some losses. Again, you can kind of see them piecemealing. At this point, I am close to churning out my first few frigates. You can see that the railguns, very, very handy early. Look, here's a new corvette coming through. It's a plasma corvette. I do think it's actually capable against capital ships, and I think the assault corvette is probably decent against strike craft. I don't know. I don't know the incarnate units very well yet. We'll take a look at them on another episode once I get a chance, but so far they're still just screaming towards me with corvettes, kind of in a one-off fashion, so they've made big mistakes in my opinion. We do have an assault frigate and a support frigate. Let's let you see those up close. The support frigate is going to start healing. You can see it already taking place here, so it's healing the mothership. I'm going to move the mothership forward and get more aggressive. I'm going to really start bogarting all these resources. And again, the mothership can be fairly powerful against strike craft with its turrets. Not amazing, but pretty good. Here's my first assault frigate again. Remember, this ship's kind of an all-arounder, and I'm putting up an effective resistance with just my corvettes and strike craft at the moment, so this is allowing me to pile up frigates. Here comes my first ion frigate, because again, right now I'm rushing all of the research for frigates, and at this point I have started capital ship research as well, which is to get my first carrier. A carrier is going to allow me to support build more units faster. It's also going to allow me to build more units in different positions. So again, you can see this. Look, I got another support frigate out. Ion cannon, let's get a close look at it. It's got kind of a big inline gun, and the nose has to be pointing at the target in order to hit it. You can see that's the ion frigate. I'm going to take the UI off here. There it goes. So there's the ion frigate sitting there. Maybe if I can make my camera, rotate on it. There it is. It has an overburn capability where it can do a really devastating shot on a timer. Look at this. Here comes the first enemy frigate. I believe this is a attack frigate. Yeah, attack frigate. And then you can see my ion frigates, very effective, but my assault frigate's also fairly effective here too. And then support frigates are healing me as I fight. The AI again is away from its supply line. I have healing, I have better resources, so right now we're kind of just chewing away at them. And you can see if they come towards this side, the rail guns are gonna have effective fire on them. Very capable sniper units. You can kind of just, I like them back in a wall formation, sitting behind other support units, so see that frigate going down rather quickly. My support frigates in here healing my ships. So good start for us so far. Here comes another attack frigate. You can see coming in behind here we got an incarnate missile frigate. I don't believe I'm able to focus on theirs. Ah, crap, hold on. I gotta figure out the camera. There we go. I am really piling out some frigates now, and we should be well underway towards carrier. So at this point, I'm just rushing towards capital development. If I can get a destroyer on the field, honestly, I could go destroy the enemy mothership right now. But I want to show you some of these units. So the AI needs some improvements in the skirmish. Some of you are probably noticing that at this point. Their tactics are unsound. They need to be able to push they either need to redesign the map where there's more resources towards the start position, or the AI needs to be programmed to more aggressively come and attack and guard the resources, or better yet, they could have different types of AI like they did on past Homeworld games, where you can pick to have the AI be a little more passive, you can pick to have it be very aggressive, you can pick to have it do a lot of fleet building before attacking, or you can set it up to do this where it just sends constant waves at you. I think it was Homeworld 2 had a lot of options around the behavior of the AI, and it was really quite fun. And I think they need to add that here too. A little bit disappointing that it wasn't in the game to begin with, since they've done it in the past. My interceptor's just unloading on these guys. My railgun corvettes were getting a little bit dinged up, so I went ahead and moved them back into safety. I wasn't super worried yet. We got a carrier out. You can see it's now participating, so I'm going to be building strike craft and frigates from the carrier, but mostly strike craft and corvettes, while my mothership continues to crank out frigates. We've got basically a full complement of frigates at this point. We even have some suppression frigates. I'm going to turn on my UI. I think we have some, yep, right here's a suppression frigate. And you can see the suppression frigate, a little bit different mission. It is really good anti-strike craft, so I like to use them to guard my ion and assault frigates, and they can lay down covering fire against enemy strike craft. The enemy is just really streaming in frigates and corvettes now, and despite their numbers, again, they're coming in piecemeal, and they're taking extremely effective fire from my railguns and interceptors, just all the other ships, and even my own frigates now moving in. We're going to get a little more aggressive. I've got a destroyer nearly out of the bay, and I would love to get a heavy cruiser in play because the heavy ships are usually pretty satisfying in Homeworld, albeit they come late in the game and require tons of resources to unlock. But if you get your 8 resources out early, or your 8 resources, and keep them busy, you do need to check on them every now and then in the game. I did in this game. I was checking on them pretty frequently, and I was able to keep them busy. And when you do, you will be able to keep up with your resourcing needs. Man, I love the graphics, explosions and stuff. They're quite pretty. So you can see my frigates over here again picking up heals. Here comes a few corvettes. They're trying to get after my support frigate. That's actually a good target for them, so you can see me moving it back. Enemies streaming in those corvettes. And yep, here comes my first destroyer. This lumbering behemoth here. Our first, after the carrier, it's our first capital class hull. It has a volley ability that allows it to shoot missiles from range, but it's also got that big gun on top too for whenever it closes the distance. It can do some more bombardment type damage. But yeah, these guys are definitely capital killers and are great at, helping to spearhead large formations. You can only get 3 of them in your fleet. You can see all the guns here, but yeah, they're able to do damage from distance with their missiles. And then, like I said, they can use the guns to barrage when they're at a closer range. Slow moving, definitely good to protect these with like flak or suppression frigates or interceptors. And have some support in there because they are going to be slow moving, but like I said, they are a good tip of the spear unit that's able to get in and really help absorb some of the initial damage that you're going to see during a fight. Man, the graphics are really nice in this game. So yeah, first destroyer up. Here comes our next capital ship out of the bay, and it's going to be the second destroyer. At this point, I am well on my way towards a battle cruiser, and I'm going to go ahead and start pushing into the Incarnate Titan ship that's up ahead of us. That's what their mothership is, I believe. Titan ship, so I'll let you get a good view of this thing coming out of the mothership's hangar. And so now it is time for us to push forward, and that carrier looks really good too. I do like the ship models in this game. I would say a complaint I have, though, at the moment, it does feel like there's maybe not quite as many ships as there were in past games. Like, I feel like the number of frigates for the Higarans, or not frigates, corvettes, there's only 1 corvette option. It's kind of strange. There used to be quite a few corvettes. Strike craft, you used to have like cloak fighters and defenders. There was more options in the strike craft as well. So I do feel like the game is missing some units, and I wonder if that's intentional because they intend to add it in the DLC, and that might very well be. If that's the case, I don't love it. There is enough ships for the game to be fun. Incarnate have different ships than us too, so that means that there's stuff there, but I don't like the idea that it kind of seems like they were skimping a little bit on the number of ships. Look at this, by the way, the Incarnate resourcing, just getting absolutely swatted by my small group of frigates here. I was definitely harassing their resourcing at this point, so they were suffering pretty badly. And now you can see my group starting to move. I've got my interceptors in a guarding position around the carrier. The carrier is going to move forward, and we're going to try and use my destroyers and frigates kind of lead the way. There was an enemy carrier that came out at this point, and it definitely shouldn't have pushed forward because it is going to take an absolute hail of fire here. You see the missiles coming in from my destroyers, and then my assault frigates moving in. They are a little bit speedier for a frigate, and they can come in and dish out some fairly punishing power as well. So the enemy carrier already going to be knocked out of commission. And it looks good. Looks good. I can't wait to see more from this game. So yeah, there comes our 2 destroyers. The mothership is now moving as well. And I got a little present coming out for the... I'm going to click onto the mothership right here. Yeah, there we go. We have a heavy cruiser, I believe. No, it just came out. We missed it. Nope, that's my carrier. Never mind. It should be coming out here momentarily. Yeah, here comes the heavy cruiser. So our first look at the Higaran heavy cruiser here. Looking good, but there is a bigger fight going on. Let's head up to the Incarnate mothership. They dropped another carrier right here too, which again was poor spin on their part. Definitely not what the AI needed, so definitely some improvements still needed for the AI, but for the time being, at least we get to see the ships here. Here's the Incarnate ship. It's their Titan ship, their mothership. It is under extreme fire at the moment, though I am also focusing some of their frigates to make sure that they can't pick my units off. But look, here comes the railgun corvettes. I've got them set up here, and they're going to just be picking at this thing from range, and then my destroyers are now in a barrage range as well. They are firing in missiles, their large guns are firing, and then the heavy cruiser is headed this way, but it is a slow, hulking ship. I'm going to let you all get some good cinematic views of this. The last desperate attempts of the AI to save their Titan ship. They cranked out a third carrier for some reason, instead of, you know, they needed way more ships, but yeah, so they used a lot of resources on carriers here, and to no real avail. Let's let you see these destroyers in action here too. See them down here below the enemy Titan ship. I do believe it was destroyed at this point, so it is going to explode, I think, at the very end. Yeah, there we go. So that is going to be victory for the Higarans. Nice little satisfying bit of explosive work there at the end. So yeah, that's what the skirmish looks like. We got to see all the different Higaran ships. I will try and do another one with the Incarnate ship soon and let you all catch that one. But hopefully you found this helpful and you got to see a little bit of the gameplay. I felt like what I talked about, if you stuck around and listened to what I talked about at the beginning, you can see why I mentioned some of the pros and cons that I did. The pathfinding was not great. Some of the engagement behavior is a little weird. The AI needs more settings rather than just stream ships towards you setting. That was the standard difficulty setting, by the way. The easy difficulty setting is similar, but they don't stream ships towards you quite as quickly, helping a newer player get their feet under them. Hard, I'm assuming they just stream ships towards you harder. I don't know, but again, there needs to be more settings there. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that one. I will be back. I am going to play the new War Games mode, and I'm going to go try and play that with some other players, because that was something they spent a lot of time on, and I want to go get a look at. Is it good? Anyway, Heir of Higara signing out for now. I'll see you all soon with some more action in Homeworld. See you then.